Hi, everybody. Welcome to the QB School. I am JT O'Sullivan. Today, Bryce Young, the Panthers. Keep it rolling, locked in, fired up. Let's get it going. Welcome to the QB School. Before we dive into the video, a quick reminder about the Quarterback School Patreon community. This group is the foundation, the bedrock of the channel. Not only is it a great, inexpensive way to support the channel, but you get even more Quarterback School content. So hop over there, join, become a member. I appreciate your support. As for this video, let's get into it. Bryce Young, the Panthers. Nice win versus the boys. Little 13 personnel play action. We're going to hit 84 up top. Evans on the little sail, sell the crosser. Come right back out of that thing in a little flood. Bryce does a nice job in the pocket, hanging tough, and then delivering this ball right in between the zone defenders. So again, watching 84. Play tight end in Carolina. Must have ass towel. Come across. He's going to go under the first backer and then sell this thing back over. Bryce does a great job stepping up. Rip it right in between the defenders for a nice big chunk. Love me some under center, play action. Second and short, just a thing of beauty. Again, not the most complicated play in the world. But again, we're creating explosive plays down the field. So condensed split. We're up and this deep flag or back pylon. That's kind of the take the top off. Then where that sail is, we're going to go under the first linebacker and then back out on that sail. And when we catch zone with a flat defender and a curl defender, Bryce is just going to throw him open between those two players. And then you're going to have the back operating as the flat. So the flood element is deep, intermediate, in the flat. It's just a beautiful job of tethering those things together. Now, the things that you gain with the great pass protection, you lose with any sort of backside route. But it doesn't matter when everything is pushing out on one side of the field. So just a beautiful job here. Construction, execution, personnel usage. And again, I really love the track, the route here that Evans takes on his way to the sail. So you get the play action coming right at him. You guys see him, got to go around the defensive end, and then this is the decision. So the easy way out here is you're running an out-breaking route, is to go out and then come back out. But what that does is that clues in that corner out there. He sees that. He has the capacity to see that. Who knows if the Dallas guy sees it. But when he goes underneath here, this looks like crosser to a defense. And then you put your foot in the ground and come back out. And then you've got a quarterback who can drill it between those zone defenders. So right there, nice little slip. Whoop. Big old chunk. Let's go. Next one here. Now, this game was certainly a great win for Carolina. Nice job from Bryce Young for the most part. There were certainly some missed opportunities. This is what I would classify as a naked keeper. We're under center. We're nakeding to the left. We've really got two guys in the flat with the slide or sneak flat. And Bryce here does a few things. In a perfect world, you'd rip the whole shot up top for a touchdown. Now, the reality here is that the edge defender, okay, 41 on the left, he's Bryce Young's guy. You have to have a plan here to be able to navigate the edge. If you put your foot in the ground, you're really saying it's buyer beware. All of a sudden, I've got to take care of this defender because no one's blocking him. So first off here, just the construction of the play is a little bit unique. 12 personnel. This is the quarterback's guy. Okay, so we're going to have someone in the flat. And then what they do that's kind of unique here is they do two people in the flat. So this slide or sneak flat, hide flat come across. Now what normally happens with this kind of construction is the flat defender, whoever it is in zone, will run with that first flat, and then that second flat will be there. But Dallas does a nice job of kind of sorting this thing out. So they have the corner in the flat, takes the first flat, and then the inside backer type comes down on the second flat. So what that should really create is a great opportunity for the crosser to be there. Now, things get a little muddy in the red zone because those safeties don't have to get quite as much depth. But we never really get over here with this split and this speed coming over here. So you would want this thing, the way to think about these backside crossers, in my opinion, is to think he should be on the same relationship as the quarterback. So as he comes out of this thing, you really want these guys on the same lane so you can just turn and throw that thing. So obviously, if we knew we could navigate the edge, so say he got wide and we could flip our hips here, you would want to throw this must outside release hole shot for a touchdown. But if that wasn't the case, say we had to put our foot in the ground like we do right here and have to make a play, well, you want this crosser to show up for you. You don't want this crosser way behind you where you have to search back across the field. So first thing here, let's watch the corner up top. He's going to come off on that flat, and there it is. So if we were to just continue to roll out here, we probably throw that. Okay. When we put our foot in the ground here, this is our guy. We have to make a play here. I would say we want to keep running here in most worlds. But once we put our foot in the ground to make a play, you want this crosser lined up with you. And see how there's space there for that crosser if you were to ever get there. 59 tries to robot it, but we're just too slow down here. So we've got a bunch of things to kind of learn from a Carolina offensive perspective here as far as how these things sort out. But the most important thing for Bryce here is on these underneath center naked keepers. 41, the edge defender, is your guy. You have to navigate the edge. And you'll hear me often say you have to have a plan for the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is he is running full speed to contain you as you come out of this thing. So if he's not there, the play is designed for you to be on the run. As soon as you put your foot in the ground here and set up, you have to navigate this guy. That means you have to get the ball out for a completion and at minimum an incompletion like this. And he's, for me, living on the edge here. So not only do we miss a touchdown, we don't have the spacing quite right on the backside, and we almost get a penalty, and that sure feels like it could have been a disaster. Next one here, a little RPO penalty, we'll call it, is a nice way to say it. I think this is disjointed from a number of layers. I like the idea of what they're trying to do here. It's almost like they overcomplicate themselves. So there's a lot of things here that make this play very difficult. This is a wide zone with a little backside RPO, whether it's a pop pass, or when you want to call it an iteration of dragon with a little bubble up top. What they're trying to do here, they're running like a little arc, bubble in here, slant up top with a bubble right here. That's the pass element of it. The run element of it is just, we'll call it wide zone this way. Okay, so there's a few things here that make this thing difficult in my opinion. The first is this is out of pistol. Okay, oftentimes in the RPO world, you'll be in sidecar. Now that is a tell to the defense, no doubt about it, but it makes the ball handling difficult here because Bryce has to turn his back and then come over here and make a read or make a play. And really, it looks like this is almost just a preseason or pre-snap. Does he think he has this? Because I don't know how else you would turn your back to do this. The other part that I just can't get behind from a quarterback perspective is if we're in the pistol here and we have to turn our back, I'm not sure why we would do a first level RPO. So I know a great course that goes into significant depth about different iterations of RPOs. First level RPO is the defensive line. Second level RPO is the linebacker types. Third level RPO, safety DB types. Okay, so this play, they are not blocking the backside defensive end. It's very difficult to do any sort of what I would consider non-line of scrimmage pass. So this would be a line of scrimmage pass, a bubble, or a screen, perimeter screen, even a slant. Difficult to do. Not impossible, just difficult to do. More difficult when you're in pistol and have to turn your back. Okay, now, and then the final part is how they block this. So most times when you would do what I would consider a down the field vertical, so that there's a vertical element of this pass and a horizontal element of this pass, most of the time when you do a vertical element of an RPO, you're going to block the first level of the defense. It's very hard to throw a slant or a pop pass versus an unblocked first level defender. And so how they block this thing is more scoopy on the backside versus blocking it out to protect the pass. So it's just a very difficult, disjointed, all over the place penalty. They got you. So, it's hard to sit here and say, hey, Bryce Young, what are you doing? Well, what are we doing scheme-wise to help Bryce here? So again, you can see the awkward ball handling of him having to turn to the right, to come back, to throw to the left. We got an unblocked guy right in his face. Now you might say, all right, smart-ass YouTuber, what would you do? Well, if we're going to want to throw what looks like they want to throw this little pop pass, I personally would want to read the second level backside inside linebacker. So I would want to block out here. It will still kind of look like run, okay? But this would be the unblocked player. That would allow you to not get it tipped. Now, would you sell as good of a run without the backside B block? No. Okay. He might get a beat on it, but we're in the pistol. We're in the pistol here. You know, if he was in the sidecar, maybe, but man, this is just very difficult. The difficulty level here on this RPO is about as high as it gets. And there's someone in our face, and we've got guys downfield. So it's just all over the place. Just a bummer on many different levels. Just not the easiest way to run the RPO world. Next one here, 3rd and long, speed out up top to the number 1. Hey, a speed out. This thing is beautiful. This is also kind of a Bryce Young signature. You just don't see a lot of guys in the league pedal and throw anticipation speed outs ever, let alone on crucial down and distance here. So pedal to me means that as we kind of backpedal out of here, and we've seen Bryce Young do this basically as long as he's ever been on the national stage here playing quarterback, but it's one of those things where it's his unique way to do it. He finds a way to make it work. He's certainly accurate enough. He's on time enough. This is outside the numbers. This is beautiful football. So again, I'll pause this thing at the back first here. Just watch the drop part of this thing as opposed to the traditional turn crossover. He's pedaling. Throw this thing, yeah, right there. Again, you can see it's beautiful timing, right? Here's that speed out. You can see the sticks. We're right at the sticks. We're throwing that thing with anticipation. You know it's coming. And again, he has to play this way. This is the way that he plays at his best. It's a thing of beauty. It's outstanding ball. You love to see it. I just, love to see him be able to do it when it matters most here. Versus good coverage. It's not bad coverage. He's got enough juice on that thing, puts it right up on his face. It's outstanding. Just a really, really nice job. There were a few times in this game where the Cowboys just had too much space, too much access for these guys on the perimeter, and Bryce Young did a great job of taking advantage of it. And again, you're just not going to see other guys pedal. You're certainly not going to see a lot of other guys throw from their toes. And you can see that heel never hits the ground. Not the way that probably anybody would teach it. But he makes it work, and that is outstanding execution, and that is a first down. Next one here, this is a tough one, right? This is a interception up top. Our guy 4, McMillan, he certainly looks like he can play. This is a bummer on many different levels. Ends up being a volleyball set interception. Lucky the guy couldn't get off the ground, or it'd be even probably a more explosive play. I didn't really understand the penalty at the end of this. I was actually watching this on a flight, and it just didn't look like a penalty. I don't know what I'm missing here. Certainly maybe not necessary contact on the sideline, but certainly not personal foul-ish either. Coming in there 100 miles an hour. Maybe he just doesn't see the guy step out of bounds, but it looks like he's still playing. I don't know. I'm not sure what I missed on the penalty there. I will say that I thought, there's no doubt that this is a drop. Okay, this looks like a slant up here. So to me here, this would be what I would classify as like a PSO, a pass screen option. So as we come across here, we got all these guys blocking for what I would classify as like a swing screen to the back. So it's almost guaranteed to be one or alert, whatever your language is, if you like this, over to this. Okay, now the thing that I want you to really pay attention to here is post motion. So what would be a premium look for a slant? Is it just off coverage? Okay, that's certainly off coverage. Where's the near safety? Is the near safety down to that side? That all of a sudden to me is tougher. Okay, when we have this sort of motion, when we go from 2x2 to 3x1, what does that do to the defense? Okay, so what do the safeties and usually the nickel type or the star do? Some people talk about like adjusting to the string. What do they do? I don't love throwing a slant into a down safety like this. I just don't. I'm not saying it doesn't hit him in the hands. I'm not saying it's not his fault that it's a pick. I'm just saying I don't love that. And so to say that it's all on 4, yeah, he certainly kind of alligator arms it, but look at the adjustment to motion. Maybe this little bit at the end where he kind of keeps coming over here. Maybe. I don't think it's necessarily wrong to throw this slant because it certainly hits him in the hands. I just don't love it versus a down safety like that. And then you come down here to the bottom, and you're a screenshot warrior and you're like, hey, just throw this and it probably, is punt return right. And you're not wrong. So it's one of those things to me where Bryce probably forced this a little bit. Yeah, obviously we need to catch the damn ball, but it's probably a better play if we say, hey, let's go away from the down safety, throw the easy screen, and see what happens to the field. Next one here, this is a very cool play. We're going to end up throwing a screen to Leggett here as he comes across in motion. This is going to be a play action fake. Now, the thing that I think is unique, and I'll probably make a few assumptions here, but I think there's an opportunity for a downfield shot here as well. So the screen, the outcome, the output is really cool. Play action, motion, movement, block them up. Really cool screen to an explosive guy outside the numbers with a bunch of guys blocking in front of him. That part of it is outstanding. Now, the part I want you to pay attention to is watch 84, Evans. He's going to end up being the one up top, the nub tight end. He's running leak. So as he comes across here, he's selling like this shallow. The receiver down here at the bottom, he's coming across. This is traditionally, as he runs across here, he sells that shallow and then he pushes up. You see teams run this all the time. Now, is this there? I would classify it as probably yes. So are they playing this play like, hey, this is play action all day. All we're doing is setting up this screen down here to the bottom. Maybe they are, okay? Because they've got all the linemen out here. I would say that would look like the intent of it. But I'm also saying he's running this looking like he expects to get the ball. Because if you're running this and you know it's just screen, you're going to come out here and look back over here to go block, to get that go call. He looks like he's running this where he expects the ball right here. And if he expects the ball right here, so you've got this play action shot opportunity, and if that's not there, then we've got this great, cool setup screen with all these offensive linemen over here as kind of the check down or the intent. And if that's the play, I'm all for it. I mean, this is really cool layering of play action, pass protection, shots, perimeter screens. Again, that to me looks like he expects it. Now, maybe he's just, the tight end Christian McCaffrey away from the ball. He's just selling everything perfectly. But that looks pretty damn good. Now, again, I think it's hard to take a shot when you've got offensive linemen blocking screen. But if he were to throw that thing right there, be pretty sweet too. Regardless, it's a really cool design. I love the way that they get all the bigs out there in front of Leggett, and it turns into one of those things where you can see the creativity of this unit, okay, tethered to the under center, play action, developing passing game. That's a really nice job getting out. A lot of big bodies. Go get a little mini explosive. Next one here, touchdown pass, bottom of the screen, McMillan. Really nice job getting his way into the end zone here. Double move, a little wrap in and go. I thought the broadcast did a great job talking through this route. This is a great little double move route, especially versus quarters or a half field safety. Drive on that in, got him. He slips. It's beautiful. I think the thing that the All-22 shows a little bit more is Bryce Young does a nice job of pumping this thing. So he pumps this thing, hangs tough, 6 drives it, and he's able to get this thing up and down before the back of the end zone. So again, watch just the quarterback movement here as far as being able to signal that, whatever the hell that is. And then this little, So see that subtle little shrug like he's going to throw it. Hang in there, left tackle right in his lap, and that's a beautiful touchdown pass. So I think when you couple the great play design, outstanding execution, now you're living on the edge, in my opinion, going empty with double moves. But if you can block them up, you can block them up. And so what I consider this little, same thing they talked about the broadcast, this is what a wrap in traditionally looks like, with a little pivot gather with that wrap in behind it. And you would read this player right here. Really the only player that can take away this play is a quarter safety. So as he sees the inside release, he thinks he's going to come down and get this. Bryce is going to do a beautiful job at the top of this thing, again, of giving just that little subtle shoulder shrug. And then it helps when the safety falls as well. So first, let's watch the route down here to the bottom. Inside release, sell that wrap in, got him. Again, you see the safety fall. Now watch Bryce shrug this thing right there, and that's going to have the safety. You can see the safety. He's looking right at Bryce Young. The shrug, got him. And again, I think it's a really nice job, not only of the shrug from Bryce Young, but the ability to hang tough in the pocket. And you got a big mountain of a human in your lap with the left tackle. Doesn't move, doesn't need a lane, doesn't need to find a lot of space to throw, has the ability to throw with enough touch, layer this thing up and down, not throw it out the back of the end zone. So shrug, and then again, can barely get into that thing, got a 41 paw across his chest, up and down, beautiful. Next one here, big play action shot. You can see the communication that they got going at the line of scrimmage here as far as trying to figure out who's who in the zoo. It looks like, okay, this is one of those plays where there's a lot of gray. I think you could make the case here that potentially he could get the ball to Leggett. I think you could make the case here also that this is why you don't love tight ends blocking one-on-one on the perimeter. I think at the end of the day, it's hard to argue against a completion, but I love the operation. So we're at the line of scrimmage. It looks like we've got multiple plays called. Looks like he's got the capacity to get to whatever he wants here after a hard count, whether this is an audible or making sure they're just on the same page. Big play action fake. We've got the sniffer on our left coming across. And he's able to have the time clock to be able to find a completion. So again, I think it's one of those things. I love an offense that will take these play action shots down the field. Okay, now to me, this is an iteration of a play that just about everybody in the league runs at any different level from any different personnel group. It's just going to be a shot up top. So whether this is a post, a pylon, a flag, this thing is up over the top. And then where the ball usually is intended to go is to these deep crossers across the field. Post play action fake, you're trying to get the second level of the defense to step up and create this space for this crosser or this over. Really, the post is only there for quarters or zero. My thing about this is what I love is Bryce Young, as he moves, he keeps a good base up in the pocket, feet apart, and we're able to find the check down on time in rhythm. So yeah, you can say, hey, golly, if we could just hold it a second, if we could see this is a big explosive play. All right, well then call it again because we got a completion here. So I think it's one of those things where it's a fine line between telling someone, man, you got to hang tough and rip this crosser, and nice job finding a completion. So again, as he goes to throw the completion, okay, first off, look at him move with his base. A little heel click on the third movement, but that's pretty good. Eyes downfield. You know, could he layer this thing right here? As he throws the check down, could we throw the crosser? Probably. Okay. Whether that's something you'll continue to grow and see as you play more and more, or let's just stay in phase, get a completion. Nice job. I would say the other thing here as you talk about decision making in the pass pro unit is what are you asking the tight ends to do? Okay, so again, whatever their strengths are personnel wise here, it's very difficult, in my opinion, for any, and I mean literally any NFL tight end to block an edge one-on-one. You add the difficulty of the split flow or slice action here, and it's tough. I don't care that you're checking and then running a little check down here so you get a little chip. It's just tough. It's not what they get paid to do per se. And so what else could you do? Well, could you just block here and then slice and help here so you get a 2-on-1? Okay, maybe if you really want to take a shot. Those are all choices that they're making in the pass pro unit. So watch the chip, release check down, and then watch the slice split flow action. You know, if we were able to not take an L inside verse 54 here, maybe we do get the shot down the field. So to me here, I would say this is borderline 2 L's at the tight end position. L, L, and we still find a completion. Halftime, you dig the channel and you haven't already, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, get the notifications. I really do appreciate you subscribing to the channel. It means a lot to me, so thank you for taking the time and doing it. Again, the Quarterback School Patreon community, you know about it. Join, become a member, get even more Quarterback School content. We also have Quarterback School courses. Talk a little bit about the courses over the course of this video with the RPO. We have a bunch of different courses. You can check out all the courses over at theqbschool.com. Hop over there and enroll. Finally, please make sure to follow me across all the different social media channels. I appreciate your support. As for this video, let's get back to it. Next one here. This ends up being a shallow coming across from Leggett, where he decides that he's Travis Kelce halfway through this and decides he's going to like pitch this thing. I find it hard to believe that's the play that they want executed on 2nd and long. Now, maybe they've got the green light to pitch. And to be honest with you, I'm probably more pro pitch, pro lateral than anybody who's going to watch this video. But that in the grasp, when you're kind of can't even control, the guy's not even behind you per se, this is just bad ball. Okay, this is just a inexperienced, poor decision, bad ball. Now, what's going on here is we're running like a switch scissors. So we're coming up here, switch, getting up the field. The number 1 comes in. He's running that kind of like scissors action sail. We're going to catch iteration of Tampa. This is the curl defender. If the curl defender gets depth under that sail, we've just got this shallow coming across or drive coming across. Now, versus zone, I probably would prefer this guy to settle up, but he looks at Bryce, put it on him, great, catch it, just get what you can get down, protect yourself, and it's 3rd down. This kind of, again, I mean, when he goes to pitch it, the guy is in front of him. Whoo, baby, get lucky. And then he gets able to jump back on it. I mean, that is living right if you're the Panthers. Next one here, this ends up being a really cool, well-designed play here. It could also be a combination of the Cowboys just doing their own thing defensively. But this is a nice job from Bryce to be able to see this thing, because I don't think anything pre-snap says that this is going to be this open down the field. So the vision to be able to see this thing, the design to set it up, the stress it puts on the defense, and then probably blowing a coverage at multiple spots here from a Cowboys back end. Again, everything except kind of keeping him in phase and letting him go score a touchdown here. But watch this ends up being just almost like a clear and a curl. I mean, I don't know at the snap here. We're running down the field. We're running what I'll just call a hook, a crosser, and that kind of like what has now become that kind of patented one-person screen outlet down here to the bottom. I'm not sure what would tell you pre-snap here that this is going to be open down the sideline. What ends up happening here defensively, we're catching closed. This is either on Diggs, the corner, or on the flat defender. So it sure looks like Diggs is covering this thing like he thinks he's got this thing man or matched here on the hook. Now, does he have the thirds and he just blows it? Who knows? Okay, if he does kind of nail over the top here and have this thing essentially man-to-man after a certain depth, because he's the only one that would look like be playing man-to-man from everyone else, that would make the flat defender have to carry the flat to the wheel. So as this guy essentially runs this route, and I don't know if you'd classify that as a flat if you're that flat defender, or a wheel if you're that flat defender, but he just looks like he expects the corner to be there. So a blown assignment all over the place. If for some reason, let's pretend that Diggs stayed over the top here and played a third. And again, I'm making a lot of assumptions because who knows what that middle field player is doing. Is he playing the middle of the field? Is he just moving this way because Bryce is looking that way? But let's pretend, okay, that Diggs stays over the top of this shot down the field. Well, then the hook is going to be wide ass open. So we've got defensive issues for the boys. That's putting it nicely all over the place. But you can't have guys that open, that down the field for easy pitch and catch. And really, the only thing that you would say here from Bryce Young perspective is not only great vision to be able to see this and the pass protection to hold up to make it happen, but probably a slightly better ball. And this is even a bigger play if we can stay in bounds. So he's got to kind of turn his way to the sideline and step out. But that's a beautiful job. Next one here, touchdown pass to the back, out the backfield. We'll call it a little backfield wheel. Now, this is beautiful design. And I try to do a decent job of pointing out great design here when we have multiple touchdown opportunities on the same play. Now, it's certainly a nice job from Bryce Young, kind of navigating the pass pro, being able to find the back. You probably think anytime the back runs a route like this, he is probably the intended target of the play. That doesn't mean that he's necessarily the first read per se, but he's able to sort this thing out, got people right in his face, 2 hands on the ball, move, stay on the run, find him, big play, hell yes. Okay, that part of it is awesome. The part I really want you to pay attention to here is not only the initial design. So we're in essentially a bunch here, right? Now I know we're going to end up getting to what I would classify as like an orbit motion, just orbit around the quarterback. But the back here we're going to, on the backside here, we're going to run up and run what I would classify like an over the ball hook. The back, we're going to fake it to him, and then he's going to come out on this little leak or wheel. And it's certainly wide open. And why it's wide open is because 3x1, oftentimes, so we've got 3 eligibles up here, 1 down here. Oftentimes this corner, if they have the capacity to place any sort of split field coverage, this corner will play this almost like man, and he'll match to that based on the type of formation or the type of coverage. If that's the case, anytime you bring someone else from the other side, so really this is like a dirty quads, if we're being totally honest, right? Because where the back is, so you've got these 4 eligibles. Now you don't think of a backfield back as a potential vertical threat, or I don't, at least defensively. So when he nails down to this thing and matches to this, there's really no one back here. You would have to say, hey, we would know that and have one of these linebacker types carry this route, which is just really tough to do. So that part of it, design-wise, is outstanding. When you watch the film, what makes it even better is this little big nod post is going to score too. And if we didn't have a pass pro issue, that's probably where the ball gets thrown. So touchdown, probably another touchdown. That's world-class design. That's excellent offense. That's giving your quarterback a bunch of different options. So again, at the snap, this is dirty quads to a defense. Now watch the corner down here to the bottom. He's going to match down on, there it is. That's going to create all this space for this nod post back the other way. Hopefully his landmark is probably the back pylon to the bottom of the screen, and that's a touchdown. If that's not there, the back is probably 2, touchdown. So you've got 1 touchdown, 2 touchdown, and the pass protection is not perfect. We got to sort this thing out, pull in the guard. Bryce able to stay in a creative mindset, not necessarily panic, keeps his eyes downfield, knows he's got a shot opportunity, sorts it out, dog ears and all, touchdown. Hell yeah. Next one here, another touchdown to McMillan. This is a really cool design play. This is just a simple power pass to the 1 and the 2. What makes this thing cool is the motion and the stress it puts on the boys. And then Bryce does a nice job navigating this kind of poor cut effort from the back. So just watching for here, his route is also kind of a unique element of this play. But this ball is designed to go to Renfro in the flat. It's not there. We dip and rip the shoulder, buy enough time to be able to find the back line. It's a beautiful job. So first here, just watch the motion as we come across here and back, and what that does to these defenders as they try to figure out who's who in the zoo as far as who's got the 1, who's got the 2, who's got the 3. So the 1, the 2, the 3. With the motion, that shifts. These guys have to communicate. Okay, they play defense. They're not great at communicating. And so when we come up to essentially run with this little back line where he opens inside and then finds his way back, we've got a corner and we've got the flat from Renfro in here. So it's probably 1 to 2 to 3. And then we've got the little shallow coming across is probably the 4. So just the communication, watch the stress that this thing puts on the defense with just a simple in and out yo-yo motion from Renfro. So, 6, are you taking him? I got him, huh? I mean, look at all these people that have to communicate. We move 1 person. They've got 4 people moving. They can't sort it out. And now look at the leverage that McMillan has on this defender. So he's now going to be terrified, open inside, and all sorts of space. I mean, the fighting Eberfluses are spinning. And Bryce does a great job, haven't even talked that much about his ability to dip and rip that right shoulder to buy enough time. It's a tough ask on the back. Usually on these power pass plays, I'll pause this thing right at the snap, usually the Renfro type flat would bluff the edge defender. So if this is the edge defender and he's the back's responsibility, he's got the back's right off the right tackle's hip, he's got to cut the first thing he sees. Normally in the goal line, these are like jumbo fullback type players, and you come up and you bluff that edge defender and then you're out to the flat. And what the bluff does is these guys hate to get cut. So they'll put their hands down and then the back comes right off of the fake cut to actually cut him with his outside shoulder pad in his outside hip, or his inside shoulder pad on his outside hip. But it's much harder to just run up and cut an edge when he can see you coming a mile away. So, whoop, terrible cut. Watch the dip and rip of the right shoulder from Bryce Young. Dip, whoop, elusive. Bryce at his best. Touchdown, backline, hell yeah. Next one here, 3rd and short. You know, I'm not a huge fan of gun naked keepers, but if you're going to get it executed like this, and they're not going to call a penalty on you throwing the defender to the ground as you run to the flat, I'm all for it. And it's only a penalty if it gets called. Okay. So again, watching 82, the inline tight end on the left, he's going to engage the edge, chuck him. Okay, great. Not a penalty. Fake it. Bryce got the ability to navigate the edge, throw a nice little ephus right to him. Beautiful first down on 3rd and short. So again, this is just one of those plays where it's a combination of timing, play call, execution, because if that's not there, you know, maybe you have the over, maybe Bryce can go get it himself, but it ends up being a beautiful little punt return left, everything except the karate kick at the end. Next one here, 4th down to ice it. Going to hit Renfro in the slot up top as the number 2 on essentially a free access slant. Again, who knows what's going on with Eberflus and company over there defensively, scheme-wise. This is simply way too much space on this type of down and distance. You got to make things much more difficult, especially for a guy like Renfro at the line of scrimmage. So again, what ends up being, I'll draw what I think this play is. I would imagine this play is an iteration of lion or like double slant here. Now, how this corner plays it is how you probably would expect this corner to play it. Now, maybe you don't want the corner or the defender to be at the line of scrimmage here because you can get picked, but you cannot be this deep moving backwards. You just cannot. This is the type of shit that gets people fired on 4th down. So he has to be like right about here to make this throw much more difficult. Now, the other thing that could help is if we weren't in this overload front and the backer was just playing in the middle of the field, you know, that would also make this throw more difficult because he's trying to trick fuck us with his fancy front. He's now out of position to take this thing away. Okay, so it's a beautiful job. It's a great job of seeing the pre-snap look, taking advantage of the access, taking advantage of the front. The other part that I really like about this play, let's just pretend that the backer was in a more traditional alignment here. I really like, they got 17 here, and they've got the tight end here. This to me is shock down here to the bottom. So locked hitch, inside fade, and then stick. So if this backer took away this slant, we've got 17 who's got some serious wiggle coming out of this thing here for another opportunity for a first down. So you've got this is a great thing, and then this is a great look. So first thing here is just watch the access on Renfro. Just way too much space. That's too easy. Combined with the linebacker standing in the opposite B gap, and it's a great job. Now watch Leggett down here as the number 3 at the bottom. Look at the wiggle he's got on the stick. That's a first down too, y'all. We got first downs all over the place. Now, if you're a Cowboys fan, watch how the corner up top plays this. Wall. I mean, that's how you would imagine him playing it in a perfect world, just from a little bit deeper. LOL up there coverage-wise, and that's a beautiful first down to essentially get us to an opportunity to run this thing with a nice little power bounce and then kick a field goal and walk it off. Beautiful job from Bryce Young. Again, from the end zone, the thing to pay attention to is the backer standing in the B gap, right? They've got this overload front, trying to get a bunch of one-on-ones on one side. Thank you. Kick, winner. So that is a wrap. Bryce Young, the Panthers, really nice win. Now, obviously, defensively, the Cowboys, their own issues beyond the scope of this video. But from a Bryce Young perspective, I think it's really, really encouraging to see the continued evolution and improvement that we're seeing from Bryce Young. I really also like this offense, what they're asking him to do, how they're playing this. Now, was it perfect? No. Okay, we had some pass pro issues in this thing. We had a bunch of penalties down the field that helped this offense as well. But there were a number of plays, a number of really cool things that I think Bryce Young does really well as far as the pocket movement, the elusiveness, the different types of throws, anticipation outside the numbers, layering down the field, vision, creative elements, all those things you see overlaid with the design, the under center play action, the cool combination of maybe some shots and screens, different ways to get the ball to different playmakers on the perimeter, kind of like their playmakers on the perimeter now. And then you combine that with some clutch, big 4th downs, 3rd downs, and all of a sudden, all of a sudden we're looking pretty good on offense, trending in the right direction. Pretty cool to see this film. Thank you so much for hanging to the end. I will see you next time. Have a good one.